Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And today we are getting into this NEEWER. It's a camera monitor mount, but essentially it's just a cold shoe mount used for anything. And I'm actually going to be using this to put on my camera cage. I'm going to demonstrate that in the video. Link's in the description down below for you guys to purchase this. Right now it's going for, it was on sale for about $10.79 because it's around the holiday season right now, but it may have gone up in its regular price. I don't think it's any more than maybe about $2 or $3 more than that. So the regular price should not be any more than maybe about, I don't know, $15 maybe at max, maybe. I don't think much more than that. So let's get into this. I was trying not to mutilate the box, but I think I'm just gonna have to. There we go, not so bad. It says screws 5-inch, 7-inch field monitor, blah, blah. Yeah, it's trying to base it more around a monitor, but like I said, you can use it for whatever you want. The reason why I actually purchased this, and I'm not gonna really be able to demonstrate it right now, I'll do it in a later video, but it was actually to mount a light instead of a monitor, but actually a bigger light, and I wanted something that looked like it would be sturdy. So I figured to go with this. Oh, apparently it's got some, I think this is that type of sticky tape where you kind of put it on one end and then you can attach to something. I'm not really too sure why you'd want to do that on here, but I don't know. Apparently that's what it is. So we've got the instructions on here. We're not going to run through those. You have the little Allen key here. And that's not really needed necessarily until you want to really tighten these things tight. That's why they have the holes, the ports in them. So we're not going to necessarily need to use that right now for what we're using it for. I'm just going to stuff all that inside there, mount that to the side. So you can see the way it looks here. And I think it's really good because it gives you, I think, a decent amount of versatility. In terms of if you just had like a generic port, and I'll tell you what I'm referring to in a moment. Matter of fact, let me bring my cages into the background. So I have two, which I reviewed on this channel before, and I will get further into what I mean by that. So when you see, for example, something like this, which is an option to attach things, and it's a more simple option, there's nothing wrong with it, but they're not very accurate because once you start spinning the bottom piece in and then you spin the top screw in, sometimes the object that you have on here doesn't align facing the way you want it. If you want to face straight, it might be facing a little bit to the side, and if you loosen it to try to make it face the way you want, now it's loose and it's moving around. So that's not a great option for anything that is not just like cylinder, the direction that it is not important. So that's why I want to get something like this, because obviously when you're able to do that, to screw something on, you're able to, let me zoom in a little closer. You're able to kind of lock in the way you want the direction to be. You have this little pin here that goes downwards, but it can lock something in if something needs that to make sure that maybe it's not spinning. This clamp right here, you can loosen it. This is to allow this to, I thought this is to make it move forward and back, but okay, there we go. It's very stiff actually. It moves, but it's very stiff, which is fine because my intention would not have been to really move this around, to be honest with you. I just want to keep it straight up and use it like that. And then this piece to mount here, and you obviously screw it to screw downwards to tighten it. So I'm going to demonstrate that now. You can see all the kind of construction on it and whatnot. I actually think this is a really good piece, but I will demonstrate it on, this one doesn't have a lot of space on it, but that's the one I'll probably end up using it on. But I'll demonstrate on here real quick. No, matter of fact, I will demonstrate on that, and I'll tell you why, because this is what inspired me to get it in the first place. Was if you look at something like this right here, there's a limited amount of room, because what I wanted to attach here actually is a really big light. It is my MA006 XS. I know it's crazy, but I recently reviewed a NEEWER battery. It didn't work with my set. I actually reached out to Amaran because the battery pack for it that goes on the side of the light, I showed them a video. They're gonna get back to me in terms of maybe replacing it because I think something's wrong with that. But what I was looking to do was when I put that on there, I can't screw it on here with these screw mounts because when you're spinning it, it just doesn't work. It's not gonna spin with this here. Now, maybe if you took this off, maybe, then you reattach it. But it's easier to just put it directly on here. It's not spinning anywhere. You tighten it like that. And then I tighten this here. Let me bring this up more because it's too low at the moment. Bring that in there. And that's another thing too. When you have these cold shoe mounts, you need something like this to tighten on them because otherwise they don't work. I got a couple of lights and things like that that slide right into the cold shoe, but they don't have nothing holding them there because they're made to slide into something like maybe the hot shoe on your camera where one side is not open, the other side's open. This is not like that. So, and they don't have, those type of lights don't have screws like this that screw it down tight. So you kind of need something like this mount for you to put stuff like that on here. So that's kind of important in that regards. What I'm gonna actually do right now is I actually am gonna go get my MRI light just to show it on here to depict and see if it fits, but also too, you guys will get an idea of what I'm thinking of. All right, so let me just kind of move this a little bit back over here. Let me just get my soft pad to lay things on just in case, because the hard table, I don't want anything to get really scratched. So we're just gonna put that down here and for now. And is this crazy? Yes. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't. But we like that we can do this, that we have this option. So I'm gonna put this on here. And now I'm able to attach it by having to spin this light onto the cage. I don't have to spin it because by using this type of mount, you just spin the spinning attachment piece, which just makes it easy. Then I can now attach this straight in because before, like I said before, I couldn't attach it because also too, the whole area is here, which moves it a little closer to that side. So being in this spot where the cold shoe is, gives you a little bit more room, just enough room for this particular light to be here. Now we just spin it to tighten it. And that's it. And that's what the Allen key would be for, to make sure that it's tightened really well. Let me loosen a little bit and straighten it out. So there we go. Now let me, I'm sorry. Hold on, because I don't want this to drop. So let me just move it while I adjust the camera. I got to bring the camera up a little bit so you guys can see this better. So let's see. Okay, so now you get an idea of it. Does that make sense? No, it's ridiculous. But in my mind, I was like, you can get a small portable light, which I have a couple small portable lights, but knowing that I could turn this into a portable light itself in terms of just a battery that would attach on the side with the battery compartment, I just like the idea that it is ridiculous. Yes, it is. You got the handle right here. Maybe you'd have to put that in a different place, whatever the case is. You can hold it like that if you're recording. But like I said, maybe it's ridiculous, maybe so. But I like the idea that still this whole light fits on here. I thought that was really cool. You still can see your display information. You can still move the dial if you need to, and obviously work everything, so it's not a problem. And this being on this side is not into the way of any of your controls that would be on this side. So it works. So that was the reason why I purchased this, and I'm just trying to set up this whole thing. Will I ever use this in that way? Maybe, maybe not, but I like knowing that I get the full use out of this hand in hand with my cage by simply purchasing this, which cost me, like I said, a little over $10, and obviously purchasing the battery. But the battery also, which like I said, is working, but I got to figure out why the battery holder wasn't. It's something that I could still use off of this kind of setup too. So like the setup really is just costing me that, because having a battery separate to use this, like say in a situation where you just don't have a place to plug it in, that in itself is its own use. So by attaching this, I just thought that was really cool. Or any other thing that you might want to use this for, because this obviously could be used for your cage for other things. Maybe you want to use it for attaching a mic in a certain area. But either way, the main purpose behind it, as far as this specific piece, is it allows you to attach to the cold shoe mount and actually lock it in, as opposed to just sliding something in there and hoping that it stays off tension, which is not a lot of tension by itself. So Anyway, you guys, like I said before, links gonna be in the description down below. And as always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.